chosen one. Lock your attention on this message right now. That knot forming in your stomach, the one telling you that something is wrong, that you are falling behind, that the silence means abandonment. Silence it, because I need you to hear what I'm about to say before your mind talks you out of it. The enemy is working overtime right now for one reason and one reason only. He knows what chapter is about to open. It all shifts in the next season. The confusion, the delays, the sense that nothing is moving. But here is what you must understand before we go any further. It is not shifting in spite of what you have been enduring. It is shifting because of it. Think back to that moment this week when you almost broke. When you almost sent the message. When you almost went back to what you left. When you almost gave in to the version of yourself you have been fighting to outgrow. You held the line. You stayed. You said nothing. You kept going when every signal in your body told you to stop. You did not know it then. But that moment was not weakness. That was the turning point. You did not stumble onto this message by accident. The algorithm did not bring you here. God did. The Most High scheduled this appointment before the foundations of the earth were laid. You are standing at a threshold that millions of people pray to reach, and you almost scrolled past it. Stay until the very end. Because in the next few minutes, I am going to show you exactly why the best chapters of a chosen life are always preceded by the heaviest silence. I am going to hand you the divine audit that reveals where you have already won battles you thought you were losing. And at the end, I am going to give you a declaration that seals this transition and locks the door on the season that was trying to consume you. Do not click away. Your future self arrived here before you did. They are waiting on the other side of this message, and they are asking you not to leave before the verdict. I know what the last 72 hours have felt like. The atmosphere has not just been still, it has been dense, like the pressure before a storm breaks, like the last few seconds of holding your breath underwater before you finally surface. Maybe you have been moving through your days with a smile that costs you everything, performing for rooms that do not even see you clearly, going through the motions of a life that looks fine on the outside, while something deep inside you feels like it is unraveling one thread at a time. Or maybe you woke up at 3 in the morning this week with no alarm, no noise, just an overwhelming sense of urgency you could not name, heart beating faster than it should, lying there in the dark, asking a question you have been too afraid to say out loud. Is this it? Is this as far as I go? You feel suspended, not moving forward, not going backward, just hovering in a space between who you were and who you have been promised to become. And in that suspension, the enemy has been whispering a very specific lie. He has been very deliberate about it. He is not screaming at you. He is whispering, because he knows the quiet ones are more dangerous. He is telling you that this stillness is a sign, that the silence from heaven means heaven has moved on. He is replaying that moment where you fell short, that moment where you let someone down, that moment where you chose yourself and walked away. That moment where you stopped trying so hard because the trying was killing you. And he is telling you that because of those moments, you have disqualified yourself, that the best chapter was almost yours, but your failures pushed the deadline back, that you are in a cycle, not a conclusion. But I need you to hear what the scripture actually says about this moment. Romans 18:28 says, "And we know that all things work together for good to those who love God, to those who are called according to his purpose." Not some things, not the clean things, not the things you are proud of. All things. Every moment of silence, every door that closed, every version of you that fell short and got back up, every prayer that felt like it hit the ceiling and bounced back, all of it. Every single piece of what looked like delay, what looked like failure, what looked like punishment. It was being woven together, not against you, for you. The enemy is not whispering because you are losing. He is whispering because he is losing. The silence you've been living in is not abandonment. It is preparation, the kind of preparation that happens in the dark, the kind that happens underground, the kind you cannot photograph or post or prove to anyone, the kind that is visible only when the thing finally breaks through the surface and everyone watching wonders how it happened so fast. It did not happen fast. It happened in the 72 hours no one saw. It happened in the 72 hours no one saw. It happened in the 3 in the morning that no one knows about. It happened in the moment you stayed silent, when everything in you wanted to explode. It happened when you walked away, not because you were weak, but because you were wise enough to know that some battles are not won by engaging. The heaviness you feel right now is not the weight of punishment. It is the weight of completion. It is the specific pressure that lives in the final pages before a chapter closes. Before the best chapter of any chosen life begins, this always happens. The silence gets louder, the waiting gets heavier, the mind starts bargaining, the enemy gets louder. Everything looks like it is going in the wrong direction. And that is exactly how you know you are in the right place. You are not panicking because something is wrong. You are panicking because something is finally right. And the version of you that has survived every previous season was never built to panic at the finish line. That was not a breakdown. That was a breakthrough with its coat on, waiting at the door. Before the best chapter of your life opens, something always has to close. And I don't mean close gently, I mean it closes with weight, with silence, with the kind of stillness that makes you wonder if God forgot your name. It's a profound quietude, a hollowing out that can feel like abandonment, a stark emptiness where noise and motion used to reside. You're standing in that charged space between the echoes of yesterday and the unseen whisper of tomorrow. What you're feeling right now, that palpable tension between what was and what hasn't arrived yet, that is not confusion, that is consecration. It is a holy setting apart, a sacred recalibration. And the enemy knows that if he can get you to misread this moment, if he can twist this sacred pause into a sign of divine neglect, he can get you to walk away from the very threshold God painstakingly brought you to. Here's what most people never discover. The pattern isn't random. It's a divine orchestration. It has a name, a discernible shape, a sacred geometry woven into the fabric of your spiritual journey. And once you can see it, once you understand the underlying rhythm of God's work in your life, you can never be deceived by its temporary appearances again. Some messages don't just inform the mind, they ignite the spirit. They are keys that unlock dormant potential, seeds that, when planted in fertile ground, begin to sprout transformation. If something stirred deep in your spirit just now, if a resonance vibrated within your very core, you may be ready to receive the Chosen One's blueprint. This isn't just a book, it's a sacred guide, a compass designed to reveal the 8 divine patterns behind your unique calling, the trials that have shaped you, and the ultimate destiny God has ordained. It's crafted to illuminate the divine architecture of your life. And it doesn't stop there. It also comes with a full audiobook, so you can absorb its profound truths during your deepest prayer, your most restorative rest, or those quiet, sacred moments communing with God. And for those of you called to speak His truth, those carrying a prophetic assignment, you'll also receive Activating Your Prophet Mantle, a powerful bonus ebook, an impartation of spiritual authority and understanding. The link is in the first pinned comment. But remember, access to these divine tools is for a limited time. Now let's go deeper into what's actually happening to you. Let's peel back the layers and understand the profound spiritual mechanics at play. The first foundational truth you need to grasp is that what appears to be collapse is, in reality, divine construction. God doesn't build His grandest designs on flimsy surfaces. He builds on bedrock, on foundations meticulously laid. And before He lays that foundation, before He erects the magnificent structure of your destiny, He excavates, He removes. He carefully and sometimes painfully takes out everything that cannot possibly hold the weight of what He's preparing to place there. That stripping you've been experiencing, the relationships that crumbled like ancient ruins, the opportunities that vanished like morning mist, the very version of yourself that no longer fits like ill-fitting armor, that wasn't destruction. That was excavation. The Most High was clearing the ground, preparing the sacred space. And cleared ground in its raw openness feels like profound loss, like an aching void, until you realize it's actually the most potent form of preparation. It is the deliberate clearing of the site for a masterpiece. Consider the profound wisdom embedded in Solomon's inability to build the temple until David, for all his mighty accomplishments, for all his covenantal significance, was taken off the scene. The very man who carried the vision, who conceived the magnificent plan, was not the man chosen to be the architect of its physical fulfillment. And David, in all his unwavering devotion, his deep love for God, had to embrace the humbling truth that the next chapter didn't belong to his reign. It belonged to the legacy he had planted, to the spiritual seeds he had sown. You are living in that profound transitional space. The old version of you, the one that navigated your past, carried you here to this precipice. But that same version, that familiar framework, cannot carry you through the open door into what's next. And releasing it, letting go of that previous iteration, doesn't signify that it was flawed or wrong. It means it was faithful. It served its divine purpose. It brought you to the very edge of your next season, and now, with courage and surrender, it's time to step forward without its familiar embrace. But here's where the truth goes even deeper, and this is the part most people instinctively skip because it's profoundly uncomfortable, because it demands a raw honesty with ourselves. The reason this transition often hurts so much, this season of seeming absence, is not because God has abandoned you, it's because you are still gripping something He has already released. There's a particular version of your story, a specific dream, a set timeline, a cherished relationship, a deeply ingrained expectation that you have been clinging to with all your might, as if it were the promise itself. But beloved, it was never the promise. It was merely the packaging, the beautiful wrapping paper that obscured the true gift. And God is earnestly trying to hand you the actual treasure, the divine inheritance. But your hands are still too full of the discarded wrapping paper, the remnants of what was. What's coming next, what lies just beyond this veil of transition, will likely surprise you. It always does when you're standing at the precipice of a new season, and you finally perceive what has been hiding in plain sight, veiled by the familiarity of the old. The thing that catches most people off guard in this sacred in-between space is how spiritual resistance masterfully disguises itself as profound wisdom. You believe you're being discerning when you hesitate. You convince yourself you're exercising virtuous patience when you withdraw. But if you can summon the courage to be brutally honest with yourself right now, and I implore you, be honest, some of what you've been self-righteously labeling as caution is actually a sophisticated manifestation of fear. And fear, when it operates on a spiritual level, doesn't always show up trembling and obvious. It often appears in a sharp business suit, cloaked in the guise of logic. It speaks with the eloquent voice of experience. It meticulously catalogues your past wounds, whispering insidious questions like, "Remember what happened last time? Are you sure you want to risk that again?" And in doing so, this fear, this counterfeit wisdom, expertly keeps you from stepping into a future that has absolutely nothing to do with the limitations of your past. Job, in his epic story of trial and restoration, understood this profound principle. Not because he was inherently perfect, but because he was tested at the very apex of his calling, at the core of his identity. And that immense test wasn't designed to break him. It was strategically designed to break the confining image that others held of him, including the limiting image he had unconsciously absorbed of himself. Before Job's miraculous restoration, he lost everything that the world, and even he himself, used to define his worth and his standing. And in that vast emptiness, in that terrifying, grief-soaked silence, God didn't offer lengthy explanations. Instead, He offered a divine revelation of Himself. And that profound encounter, that unveiling of God's presence and power, became the unshakable foundation for everything that was subsequently doubled, restored, and returned. Your wilderness experience is not a divine punishment. It is a sacred arena for divine encounter. And what God is revealing within you right now, the truths He is etching onto your very soul, is infinitely more valuable than anything He is preparing to give you or release through you. Stay with me, beloved, Because what comes next is the crucial layer, the divine intervention that has the power to break not just temporary delays, but entire generational cycles. You had been carrying a weight that was never ever yours to carry. I need you to truly hear that, to let it resonate in the deepest chambers of your being. There are burdens resting heavily on your back, invisible yet palpable, that were placed there long before you were old enough to even choose. These are the inherited patterns of your lineage. These are the deep-seated fears passed down through generations. These are the unspoken agreements made in moments of profound pain, agreements that have unconsciously become the governing rules for how you navigate life. Someone in your bloodline, after experiencing a devastating rejection, may have whispered a vow, "I will never trust again." Someone else facing profound failure might have declared, "We are not meant for those spaces, we don't belong in those rooms." Someone, in a moment of spiritual wrestling, may have concluded, "He takes more than he ever gives." And these agreements, often unspoken, rarely examined, have become the invisible, suffocating ceiling above your head, not because you are inherently weak, but because you inherited them before you possessed the capacity to question them. But this, beloved, this very moment is the turning point where those cycles must end. Not tomorrow, not next week, now, because the instant you can name it, the moment you can identify the pattern, you possess divine authority over it. And naming it does not require you to place blame, it simply requires you to see it with piercing clarity. The prophet Jeremiah, a monumental figure in Scripture, was appointed before he was even formed in his mother's womb. Before he drew a single breath, his divine assignment was already sealed in the eternal courts. Yet, Jeremiah's initial response was not immediate faith. It was a cascade of self-doubt, deeply rooted in a family identity that whispered limitations. He was too young, too small, too utterly inadequate for such a monumental task. And God, in his infinite wisdom, did not engage in debate or argument with Jeremiah's perceived inadequacies. He simply declared, "I did not ask what you think you are. I have told you what I have made you to be. Your self-perception, however flawed, does not possess the power to override your divine assignment, but it can most certainly delay it, and undeniably, it has been delaying it." And this leads us to a truth that cuts even deeper, a revelation that requires a profound confrontation with our inner landscape. There is a voice you have been listening to, a persistent whisper that sounds remarkably like profound humility, but is, in reality, sophisticated self-sabotage dressed in the most convincing spiritual language. Phrases like, "I'm just waiting on God," or "I'm not ready yet," or "I don't want to get ahead of his timing." These statements, when they genuinely spring from a place of true surrender and humble waiting, are indeed holy and sacred. But when they are employed as a shield, as a subtle yet powerful mechanism to avoid the terrifying vulnerability of actually moving forward, they transform into the most insidious and sophisticated form of disobedience. Because, beloved, God has already spoken, and what you are artfully framing as virtuous patience is, in truth, spiritual paralysis. The Red Sea did not miraculously part until Moses, at God's command, lifted his staff, and Moses had to perform that act of faith in full view of the pursuing Egyptian army behind him and the impassable, monumental water before him, with no guarantee beyond the unwavering word of God. Faith that costs you absolutely nothing is not faith at all. It is mere comfort, a pleasant religious sentiment. And comfort, my friends, is the sworn enemy of your next level. Here is a profound truth, a revelation you probably did not expect to encounter in this discourse. The most formidable block standing in your path right now is not the adversary himself. It is not the weight of your past experiences. It is certainly not the people who underestimated you or the doors that slammed shut in your face. The greatest, most significant block is your own unhealed image of yourself. Because why would the enemy need to exert immense effort to stop you when your own inner voice is already performing that sabotage mission for him? Somewhere along the winding journey of your life, you absorbed a distorted version of yourself, a fractured self-image that bears no resemblance to the magnificent creation God intended, and you have been unconsciously, almost automatically, making decisions from that diminished, inaccurate identity, turning down opportunities divinely meant for you, minimizing the incredible gifts God has meticulously placed within you, apologizing for the very grace and power that were intended to bring others into profound freedom. And until that false self, that imposter within, is truly confronted, not merely acknowledged in passing, but fully surrendered in a profound act of spiritual trust, you will continue to arrive at the gleaming doorway of your breakthrough, only to turn away, utterly convinced by your own internal narrative that you simply weren't ready. But you are ready. You are ready long before your mind, clouded by doubt, could ever perceive it. The calling did not wait for your confidence to mature. It waited, patiently and sovereignly, for your obedience to blossom. And here is the final layer, the profound insight that changes everything once it truly lands within your spirit. The best chapter of your life is not going to unfold in the way you have meticulously imagined it. It's not going to arrive with grand fanfare, absolute certainty, and a perfectly aligned, effortless set of circumstances. It is going to feel like a risk. It is going to feel like stepping off the edge of something profoundly familiar and secure into something that has no visible flaw yet, a thrilling leap of faith. It is going to demand that you move before you feel fully prepared, speak before you feel adequately qualified, and trust implicitly before you possess a shred of tangible proof. Because, beloved, faith was never designed to follow evidence. It is evidence that faithfully follows faith. The life you have been ardently praying for is not waiting for you on the other side of perfect conditions. It is waiting for you on the other side of the very next obedient step that you have been too afraid to take. And that step, that trembling, uncertain, potentially costly step, that is precisely the beginning of your best chapter. Some messages don't just inform, they activate. If something stirred deep in your spirit just now, you may be ready to receive the Chosen One's blueprint. This sacred guide reveals the 8 divine patterns behind your calling, your suffering, and your destiny. It also comes with the full audiobook, so you can absorb it during prayer, rest, or quiet moments with God. And for those called to speak His truth, you'll also receive Activating Your Prophet Mantle, a powerful bonus ebook for those carrying a prophetic assignment. The link is in the first pinned comment, but only for a limited time. Place your hand on your heart and declare this with me, allowing the truth to settle deep within your soul. I release every weight that was never mine to carry, every ancestral burden and limiting belief. I release every label placed on me by people who could not see what heaven sees, who projected their own limitations onto my potential. I break agreement with every lie I have believed about who I am and what I truly deserve, severing the cords of deception. I am not behind. I am precisely where God needs me to be. I am not forgotten. My name is etched on His palm. I am not disqualified. His grace is my qualification. I am in the midst of the most pivotal and transformative transition of my life, and I will not succumb to panic, and I will not retreat into the shadows of fear. I open my hands, palms turned upward, to receive the abundance that God has already prepared. I open my heart, vulnerable and receptive, to embrace the powerful, radiant version of myself that heaven has always known. I step forward now, not because I possess all the answers, but because the one who sovereignly called me does. My best chapter is not merely coming. It is here now, unfolding in this very moment, and I walk into it, fully present, faithfully obedient, and without apology.